Ciao, I am Renato Flores, the very proud publisher of all the great books about Rudolph Valentino by Evelyn Zumaya. I'm here today with Evelyn to kindly remember somebody. Ciao, Evelyn.
Ciao, Renato. In this special episode, we commemorate Rudolph Valentino's passing. I will read two passages today in remembrance of this great Italian-American icon. I will read first from my biography of Rudolph Valentino, titled Affairs Valentino, from chapter 12, which I titled Hoping to be Kindly Remembered. And on page 249, Rudolph Valentino is being interviewed by the LA Times reporter Alma Whitaker on the occasion of having shaved off his beard. And I quote, "On December 21st, 1924, soon after his public shaving, Los Angeles Times reporter Alma Whitaker interviewed Rudy on the set of Cobra. Stroking his pale, bare chin, Rudy lamented to Miss Whitaker how the whiskers had itched and that he was actually relieved they were finally gone. He then expounded upon his work on Cobra and praised his wife's editing abilities for the box office success of Monsieur Beaucaire. Quote, I made Monsieur Beaucaire without interference and was allowed my own way in everything under my contract with famous players Lasky. But I did not cut or edit the pictures myself. My wife did that. I do not think the actor can bring his best judgment to bear in cutting a picture himself." In response to a question Miss Whitaker posed about his childhood, Rudy replied he was a, quote, very troublesome boy who occasioned his mother much sorrow, end quote. He then explained to Miss Whitaker that she could, quote, never know the sorrow that he caused his poor dear mother in the days before he left Italy. This piqued the reporter's interest, and as she pressed on, Rudy was in no mood to hold back. He said, I fell in love with a woman as old as my mama. Alma Whitaker asked, You don't mean that women fell in love with you that young, do you? No, ladies do not fall in love with me, Rudy sighed. What about all those piles of fan letters? Alma asked him. Oh, they are in love with the characters I play, not with me, the man. That is why I disapprove of personal appearances. I fall so short of their ideals of the characters I play when they see me in an ordinary modern suit. He then abruptly changed the subject. Isn't it dreadful to see those fine trees being cut down in the street outside the studio there? Just to make a street wider, and they take 50 years to grow to such beauty. Sensing her interview had come to an end, Alma Whitaker requested an autograph and handed Rudy a pen and one of his publicity photos. He held the pen and the glossy photograph for a moment before obliging her request by scrawling across the bottom of the print, hoping to be kindly remembered, Rudolph Valentino. So, in hoping to kindly remember him and grant him his wish, I'm going to read a letter that Renato found in the Gallica French archive. And he translated it from the French to English. It was published in the Arts, Sciences, Letters of the Illustrated Review in the official publication of the International Union of Decorative Arts. And the date was October 10th, 1928. The publication introduces the letter they're going to print with the following statement, and I quote, The article we published in our last issue, Rudolph Valentino, has resulted in many letters that show how much interest is attached to the artist's memory. Monsieur Jean Desbordes de Laboterie, a poet from the French region of Bretagne, writes, quote, Rudy is immortal and unforgettable in all his kindness. With his whole heart, all of his grace was the result of the unalterable charm of his survival. I know how much he will be loved forever. We reproduce here the letter we published in our last issue, and to the memory of Rudolph Valentino, this is a letter that was sent to the editor of the magazine La Renaissance. The letter reads as follows, and I quote, Dear editor, I ask you if it is possible to print the following in memory of Rudolph Valentino. I want to talk to you about the man whose name I did not even know when the following happened to me. Neither had he heard about the people he would save when news of the misery of these people reached him. This story moved his great and generous heart. Our great Russian tragedy, that is the 1917 revolution, separated us from my old mother and my 9-year-old daughter during the nightmare of the November evacuation. It's not possible here to tell all that happened, and I'll try to be brief. So it happened that they, my mother and daughter, had to stay in Russia and I had to leave. When I was able to organize myself, my only goal in life was to try to get them out of Russia. I went to Sofia and I had no money. I had to work and send food because there was starvation going on, with millions dying in Russia. And I hoped that a miracle would save my mother and my child. As there was more work in Serbia, I went there. Having been a nurse during the war, I kept a diary from 1914 until I arrived in Constantinople. I was desperate, and in despair, I wrote to a gentleman I knew in America and asked him if he believed that it would be possible to sell my manuscript to a publisher, because a Monsieur Jougum, who had read it, told me it might be of some interest. In selling my manuscript, with this money, I could get my little family back. This was my fixed idea. I only dreamed of dollars, but I did not have much hope. The answer came back to me from my friend. Alas, there was nothing to do. Now, this gentleman I knew in America had no connections in the world of the press, but he had been told about a man, adding that he is a very good being, and then he went to visit him. And this man he was talking about was Rudolph Valentino. He told me, my friend, he found the way to have my manuscript translated into English, along with the letter in which I told about my misfortune. In this letter, I asked my friend to send, when he would sell my manuscript, send the money to my mother. That may seem naive, but believe me, I had faith in a miracle, remembering that they were starving. And the miracle was accomplished. He said that Rudolph Valentino meditated for a moment, asked to be left alone with the letter, and told the gentleman to return the next day. And the next day, my friend learned that the money had already been sent to my mother, and that Rudolph Valentino was taking steps by someone influential in Italy for the issue of foreign passports. And this man, who did not know us, had simply, humanely, without explanation, without hesitation, the very same day, did everything possible to save other people on the other side of the world, only because their misfortune had happened to arrive to him, by chance, and it touched his noble heart. Finally, the day came when I received this telegram. We leave, that same day, towards the border, and at last the meeting with my mother and my daughter after 3 years of separation. And even greater the miracle, the day before I left, I received money in a letter written by an unknown hand and thus conceived, quote, I beg you to accept this money. Your mother and child, after so much suffering, will certainly need care and overeating. They must not be missing. Rudolph Valentino. End quote. My American friend wrote to tell me about the result of his contact, saying to me, if you knew what a man he is. When I told him that such an act so chivalrous in our century of frantic selfishness was to be shouted from the roofs, he said to me vivaciously, I beg you, not a word. It is a condition that he asked. He did not want to make anything of this claim. The first days, when after 3 years of separation, we were together again, thanks to the infinite goodness of the one who God called at his side, we wrote to him in America. Time passed. We came to France. Last winter, we were living in Colombes. Rudolph Valentino came to France, and that winter, 3 times, he found a way to spend a few moments to see the people he had saved and rejoice with them in their happiness. Good, intelligent, subtle, innately delicate, and so natural in each of his words as in each of his movements, this is how he appeared to us. As I told him he was so great to bring happiness, and we owed him our joy, he replied, You must not now, later, when I am dead. And he added in a half-serious tone, half laughing, I do not think I will live a long time. Did he feel that before 1 year he would go on to the other world? Now, no one can say any more that he wanted to advertise himself. Now, after a year, after all kinds of nonsense has been written about him, absurdities, and only God knows what will be told about his life in the future, that these lines made his true personality understood. And I mean a being of rare beauty, of soul, and a rare delicacy of feeling. His memory is sacred to our family. On August 23rd, 1 year ago, he died. May these words, issued from a soul forever grateful, serve him as a crown on the distant tomb where he rests. His soul knows that until the end of our life, I and those who he saved, we will never stop blessing his name.
What a beautiful story. Great story.
It is. And for today, Renato, I will just close by saying rest in peace, Rudy Valentino. You are kindly remembered.
Per sempre.